All right, guys, now to catch you back up, we went in the home, right? We found the why. We explained the process. Now we're going to be filling out the suitability sheet, okay? Now, what I'm going to be going through is a couple different things to keep in mind, okay? The first thing is the order of which we're going through the suitability sheet. The second thing is some psychology things to be thinking about when you're going through it, and then just the way to go through it just properly. In general, okay, so I'm gonna be going through this. All right, guys. So now I just sat down with the client. We make sense. We explain the process. Boom, we're right here. Okay, John. So it's John, and then how do you spell your last name, John? Smith. Okay, and guys, I'm just gonna be just like an average client, okay, and I'm just gonna be kind of role playing what I've seen a lot, okay. So, all right, John, and then how old are you, John? You're 70. Awesome. Okay, perfect. And then, are you working right now, retired or disabled? Now, you might already know this, guys. Oh, you're disabled. Got it. Okay, perfect. Or you're retired. Awesome. Right here, I might ask him a little something like, hey, what'd you do before? If you're retired, what'd you do before? Oh, I was in Boeing. Oh, awesome. My uncle worked at Boeing or something like that. Just kind of get to know him a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit, show me you're a human. Awesome, you're retired. Okay, and then approximately what's that monthly income from the retirement? And then if you're getting some sort of disability income, what does that look like? Okay, perfect. So we're going to go through, it's going to be $4,000 a month from your retirement, and then you're also going to get a disability income of like $800 a month. Okay, perfect. All right, and as you guys can see here, I have this labeled 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And there's going to be a reason why we're going through it like this, okay? So from here, we're going to jump from number 1 up to number 2 here. We're going to be talking about finances, okay? So from here, John. All right, so about $4,000 a month approximate income here from the retirement from Boeing, and then $800 from the disability, okay? I might also ask John right here, hey, what was the disability for? Why did they start giving you a disability income, right? Because that could tie back down to the health we're going to talk about. He says, I've PTSD, I used to serve in the military or whatever it might be. Okay, got it. So PTSD. I'll just make a little note of that here. Okay, perfect. Now coming up here to step number 2, John. So now, are you renting here or do you have a mortgage? Obviously, guys, if you're in an apartment, you're just going to ask what the rent is. We got to use a little bit of common sense here, right? So you're let's just say we're in a home. He has a mortgage. Let's just say, okay, perfect. You have a mortgage. Awesome. How much is left on the mortgage for the loan? Okay, it's $80,000. Awesome. Okay, and then what do you pay approximately on like a monthly basis on that? Oh, it's going to be like $1,500 a month. Okay, perfect. And then do you know how many years you have left on the loan, John? 15 years. Perfect. Okay. Now, if I'm here for final expense, I really don't need to get into this here too much. But just practice filling it out, guys. It's good to practice. Okay, gotcha, John. Now, have you got the house appraised recently? Do you know the approximate house value? Perfect. Okay, it's going to be worth $500,000. Beautiful. Okay, awesome. So you have around like $420,000 worth of equity, John. That's really awesome. Great to see that. You're not paying any extra towards the mortgage, right? Okay, perfect. Let me make sure I got my date here. Okay. All right, perfect. So we're going to jump from here. Now, what we're doing here, this whole point of this here is we're trying to see how much money they make, how much they're spending on their rent or their mortgage, their biggest expense that they have, okay? Now, this is going to be giving us the room to see how much coverage we can show them and what they can afford and what's going to make sense for them to actually buy, right? So, awesome. So now we're going to go to step 3. Now, we're going to be talking about some medical questions. All right, John, so jumping down here to the medical questions. Are you a smoker or non-smoker? I think you told me a non-smoker on the phone, right? All right, perfect. Now, coming down here, what I'm doing, guys, is I'm just going to be reading through these medical conditions here. If you're brand new, this is all you got to do. Really simple. Hey, John, you have any history of a heart attack or stroke? You had a stroke. Okay, how long ago was that, John? 5 years ago. Awesome. No complications since then. Sweet. Any TIAs like mini strokes? No. Okay. Have you ever been diagnosed with cancer? No. Awesome. Any stents, defibrillators, pacemakers, anything like that? You had a stent? Awesome. Okay. How long ago was that? 15 years ago. Perfect. No complications since then? Just one stent, right? Okay, perfect. Now, coming to the next thing here, diabetes. Are you taking any pills or insulin for diabetes? You are diabetic? Okay, awesome. Is that type 1 or type 2? Type 2. Got it. Okay, perfect. And are you taking the pills for that or just the insulin? You're just taking the pills, the metformin? Awesome. Okay, perfect. Alrighty. And then next thing here, neuropathy, like any nerve pain, anything like that, John? No nerve pain. Awesome. Side note, guys, if they're diabetes, you always want to ask if they have neuropathy. This is a big underwriting thing for a lot of carriers. So just make sure you ask about the neuropathy with the diabetes. Okay. Anything smaller like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, anything like that? High blood pressure, got it. All right, what are you taking for that? Amlodipine, super common. And guys, while I'm going through this, I'm letting John know that he's totally fine. I don't care if he tells me he had cancer yesterday. Not a problem, John. We're going to be able to find something that makes sense. It's not a big deal. I deal with this all the time. So no matter how unhealthy they are, I'm not reacting at all. I'm just totally just doing my job, just going through. Okay, perfect. Now, coming down here, any lupus, any rheumatoid arthritis you're dealing with? No? Okay, awesome. What about any like asthma or COPD? Do you have any inhalers you're using? Okay, you're using an inhaler. What's that for? It's asthma. Okay, and are you using that just for, okay, not COPD? All right, so just the inhaler. That's just like an albuterol, right? Okay, awesome. Important to know here, you want to ask, I mean, obviously, if you see there's an oxygen tank, you obviously know they're on oxygen. Now, if you don't see any oxygen or anything like that, either you're probably good, right? But I ask them, hey, is that going to be just an albuterol inhaler, or do you have more of like you'll see stuff like Flovent, maybe you'll see like a steroid inhaler as well. Just be asking those types of things because it does change for the underwriting. So figure out kind of what type of inhaler that they're using. It's an important thing to ask. No steroid inhalers there, John. Okay, perfect. Any problems with your thyroid? Nope. Any anxiety, depression? Nope. Kidney, liver disease, anything like that? Nope. Okay. Any DUIs, felonies last 10 years? Any crazy stories you can tell me, John? Nope. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So put that down here. Now, coming down to this next section here with the surgeries. Any surgeries or hospitalizations last like 10 years? I usually ask about 10 years back. Okay, you had the stroke you were hospitalized for 5 years ago for the stroke. All right. And then no other hospitalizations, surgery since then. Awesome. And then, John, I have your ID here in front of me. You know, you should have their ID by now. If not, this is where you're going to ask for their ID, and you're just going to put down whatever height and weight they have, or you're going to look at the ID and just say, okay, John, are you still 5'10", 200 pounds? That sound about right? Perfect. Okay, awesome. Perfect. So now we're completed with this section. Last thing I'll usually ask just to wrap up this section, I'll say, hey, John, any other medical problems we didn't talk about today or any other medications you're taking we didn't talk about? And I'll get those last couple medications. Okay, you're taking, I don't know, maybe you're taking like aspirin. You know, these are not going to be crazy medications. Atorvastatin for cholesterol, right? Little things here and there. Okay, cool. Awesome. Now, this is important too because sometimes they might go, yeah, I'm taking nitroglycerin, right? Which is a pretty serious heart medication. A lot of carriers don't like that. And so you're going to want to ask this question because you might figure out, okay, it's going to be nitroglycerin. Let's just say this guy does. Okay, he has nitroglycerin. Now, what I'm thinking when I'm going through all this, right, when I went through sections 1 and 2, I'm figuring out their income, how much they're spending. Number 3, I'm figuring out the underwriting. So when you guys are brand new, you're not going to know the underwriting. But that's totally fine because your manager or whoever's helping you is going to know the underwriting. They're going to help you, steer you in the direction. But this is something to keep in mind. The way that they figure it out and the way that you're going to figure out eventually is all these things are going to determine what carrier and what product we're going to be looking at, what kind of benefits they're going to have. All right. So perfect. Now, just for me looking at this now, I'm already thinking, okay, nitroglycerin, I know Americo is always pretty good with that. The stroke is outside of the look-back period. The stent's outside of the look-back period. The diabetes, he's not taking any neuropathy or any gabapentin, nothing like that. The inhaler is just for albuterol. He should be good for an Americo plan. That's what I'm thinking in my head right here. Before I even go into anything, that's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what product's going to be good, right? And you guys do have a cheat sheet when you want to start learning on your own, which you should right away, to start practicing with that. And you and your manager should do a little bit of role playing, figure that out. So, okay, down here now, step number 4. Now, do you have any other assets, John, that may act like life insurance if you were to pass away? Anything like 401k, IRA, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, significant funds, right? Savings. This is going to be looking for like annuity money. There's a lot of other trainings on that. Let's just say he's got a 401k, right? And he's got, I'm going to say, hey, John, approximately how much do you have in that 401k? 25,000. Cool. we're not really going to be looking at that. This isn't an annuity training, but you want to get used to asking the questions to figure out if we can figure out maybe a retirement solution for them, right? So cool. And then John, do you have any other life insurance in place? No. Okay, perfect. So these are inept. Obviously, if they do, you just put how much and with who. If they don't know, that's a good thing. That's why you're there today, to help them make sure that they at least have something in place. Okay. Now, coming down here. Now, for your beneficiary, you said it was your daughter. What was her name? Now, guys, if you go back all the way to the phone script booking, you should already have that name, and you should be able to actually repeat it back to John in the best case scenario. Now, this was going to be for Sarah, right? Your daughter, Sarah. Okay. And what was her last name? It's going to be Jones. Awesome. And what's her date of birth? Awesome. Okay. 3/10/1992. Okay. And then is she local? Does she live around here? She does? Okay, she is local. Okay, perfect. Awesome. And then do you have like a will set up, anything like that? No, you don't. Okay, perfect. Now, what you're doing with this, guys, with the will, you're just adding value to the client. What I would tell John, I say, okay, awesome. If you don't have a will set up, we do have access to a free will kit. You don't have to deal with any attorneys. What you're going to do is actually, we can just send it over to you via email. It'll have all the directions to go through. It walks you through step by step to complete your will. Like I said, it's completely free. All you have to do is print it out and then go get it notarized at your local bank, right? And then usually that maybe is for free, $5, $10, but it's good for 5 years. And then that way you can make sure that Sarah has everything, sorted out coming to her, right? So perfect. And if they do have a will, obviously just, hey, you're good. Don't even talk about it. But if they don't, always offer that. I like that, just to offer that little bit of extra value for the client, okay? So boom. Now, at this point, you filled out the suitability sheet. This is exactly what I'm going to say to the client once I've finished the suitability sheet. I'm going to say, all right, John. Now, if I'm a brand new agent looking at this, okay, all right, John, this looks really good. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to, get Sarah, to take care of whatever that need was, whether it was the final expenses for the burial or cremation. Now, what I'm going to do, I have a really good idea of what we should do here, what carrier, just based on the information we have here. But just to make sure, I want to give a call to my manager just to make sure we're going to put you in the best spot. Like I said, I have a really good idea, but they've been doing it a lot longer than me, and I just want to make sure that you're in the best position for you and your family, okay? Is that all right? Guys, every single time you ask that, people really feel like you care for them. They're going to go, of course you can call your manager. I want the best thing. Of course you can call them, right? So ring, ring. You're going to then go take your phone, right? And you're going to take a picture of this, filled out all the way, and you're going to send it to your manager, right? And your manager should know you're going in the home. And so they should be awaiting like a text message. Or if you want to, you can just send a picture and you can call them right away. Take a picture of it, send it to them. They're either going to text you or call you. I would recommend probably just calling them. Take a picture and just call them, right? Call them up. Your manager is going to say, hey, based on what we're looking at here, we're going to be looking at Americo Eagle whole life product because of the underwriting here. And then whatever your manager tells you, you say, I was thinking the exact same thing, because you're very smart and you know what you're doing. Your manager's there to give you confirmation. Awesome. Okay. Yep. I was thinking the exact same thing. This looks really good. Now, if you're looking at final expenses, a lot of times what you're going to be looking at is going to be $5,000 will cover cost of cremation, $10,000 to $15,000 will cover cost of burial. Anything over $15,000 is going to be basically extra money left behind for Sarah to take care of any debts if she has to travel, anything like that, guys. So once you get that, you're going to know exactly what product that you're going to pull up and quote. Also, guys, side note, while you're here in the home, you should have all of your portals already bookmarked on your Safari, on your Google Chrome, whatever you're using to fill out the application, so you know exactly where to go to quote, so that when your manager tells you, hey, you need to go to Americo Eagle, you should know what that means and where to go to quote it, guys. So if you don't know that, you shouldn't be in the home yet. So make sure that's set up. And then from there, guys, we're going to be talking about in this next spot is building the value and explaining the benefits to your client, right? And I think that's going to be everything for here. And I will see you guys in the next one, closing the client.